The midnight train to Luma. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town where the streetlights whispered good night and the trees hummed gentle lullabies, there lived a boy named Emil. Emil had a special gift. He could hear things others couldn't. He could hear the dreams of flowers as they closed their petals. He could hear the stories that clouds told the wind. And sometimes, only when the stars were extra bright, he could hear the sound of something far off, something magical. A train. Not just any train, a train that never touched the ground. A train made of stardust and moonlight. A train that arrived only for those who believed in quiet magic. It was called the Midnight Train to Luma. One evening, just as the sun dipped below the hills and the sky turned a velvety purple, Emil felt the air grow still. The wind paused. The leaves stopped their chatter. Then in the distance, he heard it. A faint chime, like silver bells, followed by the soft rhythmic hum of wheels that never rolled on tracks. He opened his window, and there it was. Floating just above his backyard, glowing with a gentle light, was a train with no engine, no coal, no conductor, only shimmering carriages and a soft light spilling out of each one. A door opened with a sigh, as if it had been waiting for him all along. Inside, the train was warm and calm. Cushioned seats floated gently. Walls shimmered with sleepy blues and soft purples. Instead of maps, there were paintings of places no one had ever seen. Glowing forests, oceans in the sky, and mountains that sang. Emil sat down by the window, and the train began to move, not forward, not backward, but upward. They passed rooftops and treetops, then cloud tops and mountain tops, and soon the town was just a gentle dot of light below. He was not alone. Other children sat quietly in the carriages, wrapped in soft blankets, sipping warm vanilla tea served by a friendly creature made entirely of feathers and smiles. They nodded to Emil, and he felt no need to speak. The silence was peaceful, like the pause before a perfect dream. Their first stop was the meadow of echoing stars. There, the train floated still while the doors opened into a soft, glowing field where each blade of grass was tipped with a tiny star. When Emil stepped off the train, the stars on the grass hummed little lullabies. With each step, he heard the gentle echoes of someone's dream. A girl dreaming of flying, a boy dreaming of talking whales, a baby dreaming of clouds made of candy. He lay down and watched the stars drift above, blinking slowly like sleepy eyes. After a while, the train's bell chimed again, and the passengers climbed back aboard. Next, they visited the forest of Forever Nap. Here, the trees had soft, cushiony trunks, and their leaves were shaped like drum catchers. Time moved slower. Even thoughts felt sleepy. A soft creature called a nimbin round, furry, with tiny wings, curled up beside Emil on a mossy bed and told him stories without speaking. Just by sitting close, Emil could see the stories play out like dreams in his mind. He saw a turtle that glowed in the dark, guiding lost birds home. He saw a pond that sang lullabies to its fish. He saw a wind that only whispered to the kind-hearted. The nimbin yawned a glowing yawn, and suddenly it was time to go again. Back on the train, the windows had changed. They no longer showed the sky, but instead a soft, swirling color that looked like someone was painting with water and light. The midnight train curved around a moon, dipped through a silver cloud, and arrived at the next stop, the floating library of quiet thoughts. Here, the books didn't have covers or pages. They floated gently, glowing like jellyfish. You didn't read them. You simply touched one, and it shared a soft memory or a sweet story in your heart. Emil touched one and smiled. He saw himself younger, planting a flower that had grown into a tree. He remembered a song his grandmother once sang to him when he couldn't sleep. He felt a soft paw on his hand. It was a memory of the first time he hugged his cat. All the other children wandered quietly, touching books and memories, some with tears, some with sleepy smiles. Afterward, the train glided again, this time slowly, with soft music playing from somewhere unseen. The next stop was called the Dreamtale Station. Here, children picked out their dream companions for the journey home. Creatures made of imagination and moonlight stood waiting. Tiny foxes with wings, cats that shimmered like water, rabbits that glowed like fireflies, and even a baby elephant made of mist. Emil chose a quiet creature with soft fur, the color of clouds just before dawn. Its name appeared in the air above it, Leora. Leora bowed and climbed onto the train beside him. She didn't speak, but she didn't have to. Emil felt safe. As the midnight train began its journey back toward Earth, the lights inside dimmed to a soft glow. Cushions fluffed themselves. The children yawned and curled up with their dream companions. Emil leaned against Leora's side, her fur warm and gentle. Out the window, they passed a river of sleeping stars, where comets floated like paper boats. They passed a sky garden where flowers open only to moonlight, and bees hummed lullabies in slow floating circles. They passed a clock tower of dreams, whose hands never moved, but always chimed on time. Finally, the train began to slow, floating down through clouds, past birds dreaming in flight, past rooftops, treetops, and back to the quiet world below. The door opened with a sigh, and Emil stepped off into his backyard. The train gave one final chime and vanished into the sky, leaving only a whisper of silver mist. In his hand, Emil held a single feather from Leora. He tucked it into his pillow. And as he drifted into sleep, he knew the midnight train to Luma would always return for those who believed in soft wonders, quiet magic, and the beauty of dreams. The end.